Hi, I'm Lo, coming from you, not in any way, shape or form, live from my brand new microphone. I hit 1,000 subscribers recently and wanted to celebrate a bit, so now I don't huddle underneath my blankets in my bed, reading into the voice note app on my phone while slowly giving myself carbon monoxide poisoning from my own exhaled air anymore. Oh my god. What the fuck? Thank you to everyone who has subscribed. And those of you that haven't, I'll see you in hell. I only got 1,000 subscribers though, so I don't have a pop filter yet, which when I say the word pop, you can tell. I'm sorry. Today's video is a painting process that I filmed a while ago. I was planning on posting a different video, but to be quite honest with you, I did not have the time or motivation to plan, film, and edit something difficult. My regular job is moving into the part of production where deadlines are piling up for me, and I have to plan in overtime hours 2 weeks ahead right now. So if my YouTube videos are late or I miss one, blame the TV and entertainment industry, not me. Okay, moving on to the actual painting. I made this and 2 other ones as Christmas presents for some of my friends. The idea was pretty simple in itself. I wanted to do a simple painting with a motif that I was able to change up something small to make them different, but I wouldn't have to change it up so much that it would just be more work than it was worth to just not come up with a new design. I ended up picking the tulips and space idea. The tulips were easy to switch the colors off, and the leaves and stars were different shapes. So between all the paintings, they were still recognizable as the same series of paintings, but they still look slightly different. I ended up doing one yellow, one red, and this one where the flowers pink. This is not the first one I painted, but I can't remember if I painted this one second or last. So that is one of life's great mysteries, I guess. I did like the outcome enough to get prints made, so if you'd like to grab one of those, they are for sale in my shop. For these paintings, I bought a pad of Bristol paper. I want a very smooth texture, but I didn't have any large enough paper that isn't cold pressed watercolor paper, and my Canson mixed media paper was just like a smidge too small for the frames I bought, so I figured I had to pick something else. I'm really bad at certain things. Paper, apparently, is one of those things. I don't know jack shit about paper. Paper is something I've gotten more knowledgeable about. That was a big word. That's a big word for Elmo, knowledgeable. Paper's a thing I've gotten a lot more knowledgeable about in my recent years. Before I was like, why is this paper thin? And I had no frame of reference on how to tell like what kind of paper would be thick and what kind of would be thin. I had no frame of reference, so at like my grown age, I started to figure out, GSM might have some meaning to it. Who would have thought? The Bristol paper I bought was from Canson and it has a pretty high GSM. I'm pretty sure it's like 180 or something, but I wouldn't recommend using Bristol paper for such a watery medium. I knew I'd be putting them straight into a frame, so I would be able to straighten it out. And I also don't use a very large amount of water with my gouache paintings because I prefer a much thicker consistency with my paints. So I figured I'd be safe, and I was fine. It was fine when I put it into the frames, but it did buckle a little bit. So, the paper, it wasn't laying straight like it would if it would have been, a watercolor paper, which is made to take heavier mediums like that. I would have preferred a higher paper weight, but you can't get everything you want in life. Sometimes you just have to sit down and take what life gives you. And sometimes life gives you Bristol paper. I'm using my HIMI jelly gouache set. I've had it for quite a while and it still works fine for me. And I'm able to reactivate it with water whenever it's been a little bit since I last used it. It's also always with a closed lid if I'm not using it. I'm not leaving it out all willy-nilly. So I'm happy with how long it's lasted me. And as much as there are other types of gouache, especially acrylic gouache, that I'd really like to try out, I live in a country where the entire population of the country is comparable to the population of some larger cities in the world. So there's a rather small selection of certain things. Acrylic gouache, for some reason, not high on the priority list. When I first got my jelly gouache set, it was a struggle to understand how to use the paint without it either turning into a watercolor process or using it way too thickly, and it just became a chalky textured mess at the end. But with some practice, I've gotten much better at the water to paint ratio, luckily, and now I'm perfect. I do everything perfectly and I'm great. I was very clear in my head that since the actual subject matter would be so simple, I'd have to make it more interesting with the colours, which is why you can see that I mix the colours up so much. I especially think the yellow in the stems and leaves was a good idea. It really makes the greens pop against the, darker blue and black background. There are so many things in the art world that I probably should be better at, that are technical art things, and color theory is one of them. So, me saying that, me adding yellow to make something pop against blue, if that to you sounds like something you learn in, I don't know, 8th grade, it's because it is. By the way, now that we're talking about 8th grade, I say we as if you're a part of this conversation. This is very much a monologue. Do you know what I did on Saturday? Spent 3 hours doing equations with my niece. I felt tricked, alright? This has nothing to do with the painting. Turn me off if you don't want to listen to this. I just got a text from my sister and she's like, hey, do you reckon you could come help Emmy with her homework? And I'm like, yeah, that's okay. I'm the most academically inclined in my family, so I've just turned into like a free tutor for my nieces. I was not told what I was helping her with. So I show up, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, thinking, last thing we were doing was division. And I show up and she's like, hey, we're doing equations. I was like, bet, give me 5 minutes, and I had to Google equations. It felt like I was being put back in prison that I got out of 7 years ago when I finished school. Why am I doing equations on a Saturday at a kitchen table? It was humiliating. And then my sister hands me a glass of soda. It's like, oh my god. I am a child again, sitting at the kitchen table, getting handed a glass of soda while doing equations. Anyways, thank you for listening to that. We've also reached the end of the video, at least the end of the voiceover. Thank you so much for joining me. I'd love if you'd like to join me again. You can follow me on my other social media. I'm Lonely Girl Studio everywhere, and subscribe for more high quality content. Thank you everyone. Here's a little smooch for you. Okay, bye. Fuck.